NBC, I don't know how much of the business you guys actually, pay attention to as far as the business side of it. NBC's been going through so much change and turmoil for the last, like 4 or 5 years over at that network, where they're constantly buying and selling, getting new presidents, firing everybody that's like an executive, getting all new executives, and like it's just like they don't know who they are. NBC has like such little identity right now, and it really needs to figure out who they want to be, because every other network you can kind of look at their programming and say, okay, I get what you are, like we all know what CBS is, we all know what Fox is. NBC kind of, once that Thursday night comedy thing went away, they went, who are we? And I think that Bionic Woman was them trying to find it again, but they never really got their footing. And, it happens. So, but.
Hi, this has inadvertently become my question of the day, but you just mentioned how some projects never see the light of day. So I'm wondering for both of you, is there something that you've worked on where you're very proud of the performance and you wish more people had seen it?
There was 2 pilots that I did that, I did a pilot called The Dealership that was a Canadian pilot, and it didn't find distribution in the States, and my deal was out. It didn't, because I live in the States, and that's where, the mecca of the business is. The pilot didn't come in as strong as I thought it would have, but there was so much potential there, and the next script 2, was just amazing, and it was about the car industry, and funny enough, it's actually very similar to Men of a Certain Age on TNT right now, only it was about a family instead of guys, a group of friends. So I saw a lot of potential missed there for me in a character. And then another one, Sci-Fi Element, was one that Jonathan Mostow shot. It was based on a graphic novel, 6, and it was called Them, and it was for Fox. And it came in very good, and it would have been a lot of fun to do. It was about some aliens, that other beings that came down to Earth and looked human. And, but it was vastly different than Battlestar. It wasn't anything remotely like it. But it was a good group, and I thought it was a really fun pilot, and it never went anywhere. So I thought that it would, I was baffled as to why it didn't go any further.
This is for Tricia. This is kind of silly, but when you're on the resurrection ship, and they bring your character back to life, and you're in that tub of gunk. Is it as gross as it looks? I mean, I comment to my husband every single time, I'd rather be dead.
I was so happy I wasn't a Cylon.
You were, yeah. Well, I'll tell you that the experience from being in the Cylon tub for the first time was, actually I was in it twice, I think. Anyway, the first time was, I had wanted to make, I actually had a fight with the director. I stood my grounds, and he wanted to make it very serene and calming, and everything was just quiet and like this. And I said, but Lucy Lawless I just got shot. I'm waking up from protecting James Callis with in the miniseries with the glass blowing into my face, the bombs going off, and I've never had a kid, but I don't think birth is calm. And and then it was also in the episode.
That's for a Scientologist.
Yeah. It has to be. You're not supposed to say anything. Right. And first. And it was also in an episode where I had just said to Lucy Lawless, she said, well, my leg was broken and downloaded, and she said, well, I'll kill you and you can download. And I was like, no. And I thought, if it's too easy, then I would have just said, yeah, pop me off and I'll come back tomorrow. And so I wanted to make it more like painful and dynamic, and the last thing you see is, as you're waking up was your death. And so I wanted to make it more shocking, and that's what we ended up going with.
That's at the tone though, for all the rebirth.
Yeah, but that goo was disgusting, and I'll get back on topic on the goo, because there was multiple copies of us. There was Grace had to get in 2 or 3 times. I had to get in 2 or 3 times. Somebody else had to get in 2 or 3 times, and our photo doubles had to get in 2 or 3 times because there was me on the outside and a photo double on the inside with a blonde wig and stuff like that. By the time I think I was the last, I was second person in, and then the last person in. By the time I got in at the end, it was all the props people had to do was see you go. And they would come over with a napkin because it was just people's hair in it. And it was this sticky stuff that when you stood up, you literally had to stand up, and people had to go, the makeup people had to go like this and wring you off. And it wouldn't come out of it. It was so heavy on the wig that it actually ripped the wig in half. It ripped the $8,000 wig in half because of all the weight at the bottom of the wig. It was disgusting. It's like petroleum jelly. So it's like a massive party at Charlie Sheen's. I mean, call spade a spade, you know? Yeah. Yeah.
Hi girls.
My publicist is going to kill me.
Katee, you once, I've heard of you tell a story about a weird fan experience about the Wookiee.
Okay.
I wondered if you could repeat that, and also whilst you're doing that, Tricia, could you think of a strange fan experience you've had?
She's like, No, it was one of like my first conventions, and it makes me think of, what's that called, furring or whatever it's called? Y'all know what I'm talking about. And I saw this Wookiee like came up to me and was like, I love you. And I had no idea who it was, and I was like, I was like on the phone with my mother, and I was like, you wouldn't believe it if I told you, so I'm just gonna. And then I'm in the bathroom, going to the bathroom, and I see this Wookiee like in the bathroom, and it's like clothed still and like not taking it off, and I have no idea if it's a man or a woman, and I'm like trying to go to the bathroom, and I can't, and I'm scared, and I'm convinced that like just a bunch of Wookiees are gonna come. And that was kind of my story. And it was a woman.
She was in the right bathroom.
It was a woman, and then she took it off, and then she said she loved me again, and I was like, and so it begins.
I've told this story quite a few times, so I'll probably not tell it about the guy that I scared in the pet store. Have you all heard it?
I haven't heard it.
Okay, I'll tell it. I was in Vancouver where we were shooting, and we were about to start Battlestar, but I was doing a movie and my hair was dyed like dark brown.
Oh, I remember that.
And I had cats, so I was getting pets. It was raining, it always rains in Vancouver, and I had a hat on, and I had a Battlestar jacket. The first season, the cast all gave the crew these really nice Battlestar jackets with the emblem that said crew, Battlestar Galactica crew. And this guy walks up to me, he's like, oh, that's a cool show, you know, you work on the crew? You work on it? And I'm like, yeah. He goes like, what do you do? And I went, I'm an actor on the show. And he goes, and then he kind of looks under my hat, and then I guess he recognized the face, even though, because most people don't recognize me because I don't have white hair. And then he goes, and he turns around and runs out of the store. And then I'm like, okay, that was weird. And I go to the next aisle, and then all of a sudden he peeks, he comes back into the store. I didn't know because I had moved around the aisle. He peeks around the aisle and he goes, sorry to disturb you. And he turns and runs away again. So I don't know if he thought I was going to hit him, or I don't know if he really thought I was as powerful as a Cylon, but that was probably one of the funniest experiences. I wasn't scared, I just was like, dude, I would have said hi to you. I mean,